What's going on, guys? My name is Eldeniro and welcome to episode 107 of my FIFA 15 career mode. We're with Manchester United and we're starting this episode off with a look at the squad report. I don't really have anything strange or startling to report on this itself. I think Dybala hasn't grown and neither has Signorini, and I think I actually know the reason for that. I think I just came up with this theory the other day that maybe if you don't play players in their natural position, they don't grow at all, because Dybala's only position is a centre forward. And I don't play with a centre forward mostly, and when I do, it's always Wayne Rooney who fills in that role. So I think maybe lack of first team football in his natural position has hindered Dybala's growth, and I think the same for Signorini, because he's a left midfielder who can facilitate a left-back role, and I mostly play him as a sort of left-sided central attacking midfielder, so I think maybe those things are hindering their growth, but I'd like to know what you guys think. Also, I want to ask you guys a question at the start of this episode, which was suggested by Richard Jones on yesterday's video, and he says, I think a good question to ask would be, what are people's favourite PlayStation and Xbox games? And mine is Metal Gear Solid 2. I think any of my old school subscribers will know that I've talked about that game an awful lot. It was like a huge game for me. Like, I really enjoyed it when it first came out on PS2. It was the first game that I got for the PS2 as well. But I want to put the question back to you guys. What is your favourite game of all time? As we finish up the squad report as well, Hector Villalba has 11 goals in 14 games, which is a decent enough return for him, although it is far from his best. I have honestly struggled to find the net with a singular striker since the patch came out. But we go into our first game of the episode, which is against Arsenal, and this is in the quarter-final of the Capital One Cup, and it's also a replay of my first ever game as Man United manager, when we took on Arsenal at Old Trafford on the opening day of the season, and we picked up a 1-0 victory thanks to a last minute Chris Smalling goal, which was pretty handy. We've actually kind of gotten a lot of last minute wins in games, and I'm thinking maybe at some point at the end of this season I might do a compilation of last minute winners, because it does seem as though there's been an awful lot in this season so far, and that's kind of interesting because Man United have been known in previous years to have lots of last minute winners, of course famously in 1999, but even so, all the way up until like 2 years ago before Fergie retired, there were lots of last minute winners in United games, so it's just pretty cool that that's continued into this career mode. But the Arsenal lineup is a really good one. They've got Schneiderlin in midfield and Danny Welbeck up front, who always plays well against me, but we started off the action strongly. It was in the snow and I really struggled to play in the snow. I didn't think to look at the weather because I just didn't think that there'd be snow, because it's been so long since we've actually had any snow in a game on this career mode. But yeah, I don't do well in it. It makes everything just way too bright for me, and it comes through a lot better on YouTube videos because of the color correction settings that I use than it actually does when you look at it on my TV. Like, it's a lot more bright on my TV for some reason, and it's just really difficult to play in sometimes. Like, it's even difficult to see the ball. I don't think a yellow ball actually goes well with the snow. I think it should be a slightly darker color because I have difficulty differentiating shades from time to time, and they're both bright colors. But in the 17th minute of the game, we got a penalty thanks to a foul from Laurent Koscielny on Dybala, and Villalba steps up, his fellow Argentinian, and he puts the ball into the top of the net to put us 1-0 up after what was a really strong start, our third chance of the game within just 20 minutes. Like, we really did take the game to Arsenal from an early stage. But in the 21st minute, Arsenal came forward with Morgan Schneiderlin battling his way into the box. His shot was deflected off one of the defenders and it goes out for a corner kick, and weirdly enough Santi Cazorla took the free kick, or the corner kick. Now that's not weird at all, but it swung into a really good area inside the box, and Morgan Schneiderlin goes up and actually finds the top of the net to make it 1-1 in the game. What's weird about it is that Arsenal have actually scored a completely disproportionate amount of corners against me in previous years. Like, I remember they scored one in the Community Shield, and then they scored one against me. This was when I was at Leicester. They scored one against me in that same season, but they scored a fantastic goal in the 32nd minute. Mainly, it was an easy finish for Wilshere, but it was the flick on down. I think it was from Aaron Ramsey. It was a brilliant little flick. I didn't even pick it up until I looked at the re-edit when I was editing the video itself. But Arsenal, within the space of 10 minutes, just completely turning the game around, knocking it on its head, and we just had no answer to that, really. Big Mana got a shot in the 45th minute, but that wasn't very good. Then in the 55th minute, Arsenal sort of resumed their dominance with Welbeck's shot going just wide, and then in the 68th minute they came forward once more with Cazorla and Welbeck combining well up front before the ball comes into the English striker, former Man United player, who sees his shot saved by David De Gea. Then we come up to the final 10 minutes of the game with Andre Schürrle on the ball. He plays it into Signorini, whose shot did test press Szczesny, but eventually the Polish goalkeeper got down to it. And then we come to 4 minutes later with Dybala coming wide on the left-hand side of the pitch. He looks up to try and get the cross in, but instead runs across the face of goal and goes for a right-footed shot, which actually deflects off Morgan Schneiderlin, goes under his leg and bounces so to take it away from the goalkeeper, and Szczesny had no answer for it. We did get our equaliser in the game, which we had pushed for, and I think that we did deserve, although there weren't an awful lot of clear-cut chances in the second half for us. But we go into extra time in the game, and in the 112th minute, Edin Dzeko, the second half substitute, hits his header off the crossbar. It's eventually retrieved by David De Gea, and we can launch into a counter-attack from here with Chris Smalling on the ball, playing it into Big Iramana, who finds Dybala. He plays it on to Signorini, who just can run and run and run. He's so good with dribbling. He's got 4-star skills. He's a great player. I'm thinking of taking him with me to wherever I go after Man United. But Signorini gets into a very, very good position, and he goes for the shot from the edge of the area, but it's saved by Szczesny as it was creeping into that near post. Then a few minutes later, Arsenal came forward with Aaron Ramsey on the ball as he tries to move into an advanced position on the right hand side. He puts a great cross into Sanchez, who heads it down to Martinez, who finds Edin Dzeko, who plays it into Theo Walcott, who goes back to Schneiderlin. His cross finds Edin Dzeko, and the Bosnians' header goes straight into the top corner of the net, and they break our hearts in the last minute in the perfect act of revenge for our opening day game of the season, which is just a real shame for us that we're out of this tournament, because I thought that it was actually winnable, and I thought that if we were able to navigate the challenge of Arsenal successfully, we would be able to push on and go for that semi-final and indeed the final as well. But sadly it wasn't to be, and our next game is back in the Premier League. This is against West Ham United, who I think I did a pretty good job of sort of taking West Ham apart. As soon as I signed Koyate for Leicester City, they were never really the same team to play against. They're always difficult as soon as they get the ball to Andy Carroll, because he is literally Superman on this game. But we have Villalba, we've got Wayne Rooney, we've got Lingard as well in there, who, like I said in the last episode, is a lot of fun to use. Di Maria taking up a position on the right hand side of midfield as well, with Signorini and Romeo in at fullback positions, because I wanted to rest other players, because our next game is the most important one, as it's against Olympiacos. But we got a corner kick in the 6th minute, which will be taken by Di Maria, swung in towards Alberto Jordan. It eventually comes out to Johnny Evans, who knocks it onto Signorini, who from distance finds the back of the net with a sublime strike that really shouldn't have caught the goalkeeper out, but the goalkeeper was off his line. It's Adrian in goal for West Ham. He was definitely off his line. He was definitely caught out, fair enough, and it was a really, really nice finish. But it was Johnny Evans with the flick on, and he's been such a menace from corners for opposition, which is really good for us. But West Ham responded in quick fashion, with Andy Carroll's shot being punched wide by David De Gea, and eventually kept out before going out for a corner, which is really good. I love it when that happens. It's so satisfying. But we come up to the 17th minute of the game, and Di Maria picked up an injury. Now, he had to be substituted, which was a real shame for us. I was hoping it wasn't too severe, but Rafael Varane from a free kick in the 30th minute had a strike which was saved in a very strange fashion by Adrian. I thought he had enough time to get down to that. But in the 35th minute, Jesse Lingard came forward, peeling away from Ravel Morrison, who is a former Manchester United player, I think. And the ball comes into Chalobah inside the box, and he has a look up and crosses it in towards Alberto Jordan, who sees his header go just over the bar, which was unlucky, because I thought that was a really good chance. Then in the 45th minute, Ziyech, or whatever his name is, had a free kick effort, which was very, very, very close to going in. Then we got a kind of a counter-attack going in the 51st minute, with the ball being played into Hector Villalba, who takes it round Adrian in the West Ham goal before missing from, and I hate when that happens. It's happened twice this season. The other time was with the other Argentinian player, Dybala, and it's so unfortunate, because you'd expect Villarreal to hit the target from there at the very least. But in the 57th minute, Delors actually managed to come forward and equalise for West Ham from a kind of a pacey attack from them. Like, it was really unexpected. They played the ball around midfield very well. They have a tight sort of formation in the centre, and I thought that maybe having two central defensive midfielders in a flat 4-4-2 would have done the job to close them off, but it wasn't to be, and Delors did get that equaliser for them. Then we come up to the hour mark of the game with Villalba coming forward. He plays the ball into Wayne Rooney, and the attack continues going, but Villalba, if you look at him in the centre of the pitch there, doesn't actually get back up, and the referee is forced to stop play because Villalba has picked up an injury, so he goes off. Then 4 minutes later, West Ham came forward once again, with the ball being played in towards Ravel Morrison, who ends up hitting the post. It's eventually cleared, but not very convincingly, by the United backline. Then we come up to the final 5 minutes of the game with Signorini playing the ball into Dybala. His attempted pass was blocked, and it comes out to Chalobah, who plays it into Javier Hernandez, who sees his strike bomb off the crossbar and bounce up out of play, which was a real shame, because it would have been great to get a last minute winner against West Ham, but we came forward anyways. Chalobah picking the ball up and playing it into Alberto Jordan, who gets incredibly lucky inside the box and manages to finish from a ridiculously tight angle angle in order to give us that last gasp winner that we were looking for. And that was an amazing moment as well for Alberto Jordan. As far as I can tell, it was his first goal for the club, and it was the winning goal. That's how the game ended. So we did concede a goal, which is a shame, but it's not the end of the world, and we did pick up the victory in spectacular fashion, which is really all that matters. But I waited confirmation for the news of the players who were injured in that game. Hector Villalba was one of them. He's got a broken ankle, and he's going to miss 3 months of play, which is huge for our season. And Angel Di Maria has suffered the exact same injury, and he's going to have the exact same layoff time, which is an absolute disaster. I think that's the worst possible outcome, the worst possible news we could have gotten from that episode. Like, it's a real shame. I mean, the worst possible would be like 9 months or 12 months or 18 months, but it's really, really bad to lose those players for a huge chunk of the season. And I think in January we're going to have to look for some kind of a utility player who can play in all sorts of attacking positions just to fill that void. And if you guys have any suggestions for who that player would be, I am definitely all ears. But that is the end of this episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys are still enjoying the series overall. If you are, please do leave a like on the video. That would be much appreciated. I've been El Dinero. Thanks for watching.